Okay. All right, let's call to order the Marble Valley Regional Transit District Board of Commissioners meeting on Tuesday, March 10th at 10:05 a.m. Before we start, we have a new board member, Sam Wadusky, who's taking over for Chris Condon at Killington Resort. Hey, Sam, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys? Nice to meet everyone.
Sam, you want to give us a little 2-second about you and your role at Killington?
Yeah, certainly. Again, my name's Sam. I'm the purchasing manager for Killington Pico Ski Resort Partners. I've been in Vermont for going on 14 years now, I believe, and I've been with Killington for all of those. My wife and I live down in Rutland Town, and we love the area, and I'm glad to be a part of the team.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Sam, for stepping in for Chris. Chris told us he was unable to continue on just with work conflicts and some big tasks that he has at Killington. So I think it would be appropriate for during the agenda setting that we add an item after open to the public to formally vote to accept Sam as a at-large commissioner. So with that, could I get a motion to approve the March 10th agenda with the addition as presented? So moved. We have a motion. It has been seconded by Ethan. Any discussion or debate? All those in favor? Aye. Aye. All right, we have an agenda. It's been set. Can I get a motion to approve the February 10th minutes as presented? Any changes or corrections to those? Hearing none. Can I get a motion? No. We have a motion is second. It's been seconded. Any discussion or debate? All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Great. Open to the public. Any public? Who likes to speak about items?
Today, everything is running smoothly, except for one thing. People are still sleeping in the lobby. Constantly, every day. I told them to move, they do it, but they come back and do it again. I just don't want this to end up closing the doors.
I've been going to training center on this daily. I spent probably 15 hours in the last week and there's no person sleeping, but I've told them. It's been very quiet.
Good. Anything else?
No, the cleaning's still doing okay, so sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't, so.
Yeah. Any word on returning any of the amenities that were removed? Like benches?
There was some talk, but probably should put them back. Yeah, it invites people to sleep on them. It's warm now.
Totally get it. Are people just going in the lobby then to sit?
Yeah, they sit in there and it's, I mean, like, it's a public space, so it's, as long as they're not causing any issues, then,
Yeah.
I don't really bother them unless they're, messing the place up, leaving garbage, or laying down, I tell them that they can't lay down, so. For the most part.
Or you were in the driver's hearing any complaints about the lack of benches?
I really haven't been, like, inside, so.
So yeah, if it's not an issue, we don't need to
The
do it.
bathrooms,
Still, always, right?
they wanna trash them, they'll just keep.
So by request only.
Yeah, some of those.
It's. Okay.
Pigeon problems.
Better.
Yeah, there's, I saw 2 pigeons down there probably.
Amazing. Wow. Considering where we were.
On scanner, you're sending over to talk to some lady that was feeding the pigeons.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
one of the troopers was sent to
Yeah.
move her on or whatever to she was feeding it, so.
All right, next is, item that we added. Looking for a motion to accept Sam Badusky as the new at-large member for Killington Resort.
So moved. Second?
All right, we have a motion that's been seconded. Any discussion or debate? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Welcome aboard, Sam. Glutton for punishment. Here we go.
Okay.
Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, uniform policy proposal, Stacy?
Yes,
You?
hello. Welcome, Sam. Glad you're here. We are currently looking at making some changes to the uniform policy for both the drivers and maintenance. I do want to say that this also was brought to the executive committee before coming to the board directly. So we did have some positive feedback on that as well. And I do want to say thank you, and get into more of that when it comes to reimbursement. So currently, the uniform policy for drivers, as stated in our handbook on page 38 and 39, all year-round driving staff will be issued uniforms. Uniforms consist of a shirt, jacket, vest, and hat. All drivers are required to wear their uniforms during his or her work assignment. All seasonal drivers will be issued uniforms under the discretion of their supervisor. All drivers will be reimbursed for up to $50 per year for the purchase of pants. What we'd like to propose is that all full-time, part-time, and seasonal drivers will be issued uniforms to ensure a safe, professional, and consistent appearance during work assignments. Issued uniform items include shirt, jacket, and hats. All staff are required to wear their uniforms while on duty. We wanted to address with the board the driver's uniform stipend. Drivers will be reimbursed up to $100 per calendar year for the purchase of pants, shorts, or work-appropriate footwear purchased on their own. Any replacement or additional uniform items requiring replacement due to wear and damage or role changes will be addressed by their supervisors. Drivers will submit receipts to their supervisors for purchase of approved items for reimbursement. So currently it was $60, we would like the board to allow it to be $100. In addition to that, we had no footwear guidelines in the handbook pertaining to our drivers. So we like to propose closed-toe shoes only. Specifically, we wanted to list Crocs, sandals, flip-flops, and other open-toed or open-heeled shoes are not acceptable. Shoes must be slip-resistant and oil-resistant. Soles must provide good arch support. Shoes must be professional in appearance. Low or mid-top athletic or work-style shoes are acceptable. Then moving into the maintenance crew for their policy on uniforms. Currently, as it shows in our handbook on page 40 to 41, they must wear work-tight boots that provide over-the-ankle support. Steel-toe boots are not required, however recommended. The soles of the boots should be oil and slip resistant. High-top hiking shoes are permissible. Each maintenance employee will be allowed to purchase one pair of boots from January 1st through December 31st and will be reimbursed up to $75. Sales slips must be submitted to their supervisor. What we like to propose for the maintenance team is that the staff will be issued uniforms under direction of their supervisor. Maintenance staff will also be reimbursed for up to $100 per calendar year for the purchase of pants, shorts, or work-appropriate footwear purchased on their own. Any replacement or additional uniform items required due to wear, damage, or role changes will be addressed by the supervisor. And again, the maintenance staff will submit receipts to their supervisor for the purchase of approved items for reimbursement. Their footwear guidelines will stay the same. Work-tight boots that provide over-ankle support. Steel-toe boots are not required, however recommended, and the sole of the boots must be oil and slip resistant. High-top hiking shoes are permissible. So summary of the changes that we would like the board to approve is increased driver reimbursement from $60 to $100 annually and maintenance from 75 to 100 annually. Expand reimbursement eligibility to include pants, shorts, and work appropriate footwear. And I'm sorry, it's not in the summary of changes, it's just the driver footwear guidelines as well. The reason why we would like to see this go into effect is because it will provide expectations and equity and consistency and establishes drivers' footwear standards.
All right, questions for Stacy?
Surprised me.
Crocs are a big deal. Everyone wants Crocs.
Probably.
It's good to be, have safety.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Who gets, you get the uniforms from Poland every day? Yeah, maybe staff gets, they get, uniforms from Poland.
So we need to include that then.
Yeah, we send them in and get a bill and charge back. That's what we say.
Okay. Any questions from commissioners, concerns? If not, we will entertain a motion to accept the uniform policy proposal as presented. All right, we have a motion,
Second.
has been seconded. Any discussion or debate? All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Yes.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the generosity of the reimbursement going up to $100. I think it's really impactful for our employees.
Awesome. Great work. It's a big one to check off. Financial report, P and L, Patty.
Yeah, we're looking at the P and L for January. This is an operational P and L. This would include the, major capital vehicle purchases. But so far this year with, the grant revenue we have coming in, the other current revenue, which is, money coming from Killington, and response fares and other smaller grants, not capital, still showing a positive $39,000. This is still a work in progress. We are working on, reevaluating all of our accounts, what's going into them in order to build a much cleaner budget, which I'm doing right now. Obviously, working on projection and budgets in the last week has become a little bit. While looking at most things like fuel and stuff like that, we might have to up the, be a little bit, considering diesel's gone up about 70 cents in the cost. So, which obviously is gonna add a little stressor to our bottom line, so we're gonna be taking that to consideration. And as well as any other expenses that may be affected by that current situation. We hope to present our budget to the executive committee on our first meeting in April, as well as, just a side note, the audit is done, and the auditors will be at the executive committee to present the audit. I believe it's April 2nd, if I'm not mistaken.
Any big variances you think should be explained or highlighted?
Well, right now, it's kind of very difficult to explain variances versus the budget because we are in the process of changing the entire chart of accounts. Last year, the budget was done with a solid like fringes without, all the detail behind it of what's actually included in the fringes, which is all of the medical, dental, all of the match taxes, Social Security, Medicare. So I am working towards making sure that the fringes more apply to the admin, PM, and ops wages rather than just one lump sum spread out. A lot of variances we also have is in The professional services area, if you look on the second page, and the description was kind of a dumping ground for a whole bunch of different things. So this past week, I have spent the week evaluating all of the dues and subscriptions that we're paying, all of the software we are using. As I'm sure everybody will tell you, I'm going around bugging everybody, going, what's this? What's that? Are we still using this? What's this for? We have had, as you know, a lot of software changes this past year. We've changed accounting systems. We are going from Route Match to HBSS. We've gone from statistics to 4D. We started out in Swiftly, had expenses for that, and we're getting rid of that, right? We're not going to be using Swiftly. We're going to be doing Swiftly. So it's been quite a challenge to really go through everything. We're evaluating areas such as computer, which through SimQuest is costing us, I believe about, this is for firewalls and other things, probably about a little about 120,000 a year. Going through estimating what our security costs are going to be, because we have talked about bringing the police back down to patrol next year on a limited basis. So right now, yes, there are a lot of variances, but if anybody wants to ask anything specific, I can certainly explain it. But as far as the legal and professional fees, dues and subscriptions, those areas are all in the process of being reevaluated.
Okay,
We're gonna have quite a few RFPs going out next year too. We'll have one going out for security, for computers and IT. Our auditors brought up that we haven't done an RFP for our insurance in some time, so we're gonna be doing that before our renewal date for that first. Trying to save money over here.
Yeah.
Looking at everything. We're gonna be doing a lot of deep diving right now.
I was just gonna ask, Pat, you mentioned on the heating oil side that it went up around 70 cents a gallon on our diesel fuel for our fleet. Is that comparable? Has that taken a big hit to diesel fuel?
I wish Benny was here because I know he keeps a very sharp eye on it
Yeah.
almost every day, looking at, who's got the cheapest prices, looking at the market. I don't, honest to God, know off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, that's fine, that's fine.
It will have an absolute impact on us.
Yeah.
No way they're gonna keep to what I think a week before we paid $2.90 for diesel and $2.14 for gas. That ain't happening.
Yeah. no.
That's a question I can probably answer more clearly, next time we meet, because at that time we'll see that we're going to see the impact. For budgeting, I started out a couple of weeks ago with adding 50 cents a gallon. Now I'm adding $1.50 a gallon. And hopefully that's as far as I have to go.
Yeah.
But also, we all know that diesel affects everything, trucking fees. We pay fuel surcharges on so many of our vendors now, even the people who deliver our uniforms. Casella kills us every month with fees. It's gonna impact every area. Which we didn't need right now. Nobody needs to right now. So.
Can I ask an operational question?
of
Sure.
course.
Regarding diesel fuel, is it, and again, I'm total outsider's perspective, is it safe to assume that the bus has their own fueling station and storage?
Yes.
Have you guys ever looked into procuring like futures contracts so you have a fixed rate throughout the calendar year?
That would be a question for Benny, who's our mechanic lead, and he's in charge of all that, and unfortunately he's not here for this meeting. But yeah, I'm assuming that it's probably something we would look to in the future. I know he does something all the time. He's on some kind of system. Because I see it when he submits his bills, but I unfortunately can't speak to it.
No, it's all good. Thank you.
Yeah, I will definitely ask him now.
Is that what Killington does, Sam?
We
Yeah.
do, yeah. We pre-buy all of our well, we do it for off-road, but you can do it for on-road as well. So we'll pre-buy contracts when the price is right. So, we have the same price throughout the season. So even when the pump it's at 370, we're only paying, $3 or whatever it is.
Same thing with the town. Heating oil vans.
No, we don't.
We don't pay.
No, we pay, like I said, we were paying, I think, $2.14 for gas last week. So I know Benny is doing something to control that. I can't speak to his methods because I don't know. Sorry.
Good note, Sam, thank you. Albert, you have a note? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I don't think, to let you just speak for so how much storage do we have? How many days of operation does our stockpile cover?
Sure, but those things are,
Gas,
they only come probably.
I think the gas is 2,500, I think, because our last bill was like 300. Don't need the diesel.
Maybe we could have Benny come in
Yeah.
April.
He's usually here. I'm not sure if he's out.
Yep, that's all right.
But yeah, he can definitely give us a bunch more explanation than I can.
All right. Any other questions, Albert? Did you have something? All right. Moving on, fair reimplementation plan.
So just for your sake, Sam, to know some of the history, we charged fares up until COVID. When COVID hit, all of our fares became free. But since we are entering an era of, obviously a little bit of reduced grants and everything, we're looking for other areas of revenue coming in, rather than trying to reduce our routes anymore. So we've come up with a new plan, basing it on mileage, basing it on what we used to charge in the past. So we've come up with, before, for our fixed routes, which is the northwest, south and hospital, we used to charge 50 cents. That's going to $1. Our commuter routes that were $2 back in 2019 are now going to be $3. And then we have some door-to-door service that's going to be, for personal service, I think it's going to go $6 to $10. We did an analysis of how much we believe our revenue, how much revenue we'll be making. Because we're also gonna, it's kind of hard we had to go back and look at all of the books back about 6 years ago to see what we could find. Because in addition to doing just the daily fares, we also sell passes, which is the majority of our income. Our passes are about 50% of a discount. We have a couple of different passes, seasonals, multi-rides, all-together passes. So we took into account the number of ridership per route. We took into account how many passes we believe we will be selling. And we're hoping that for next year, we can get about $500,000. I think $545,000 was the revenue. The one problem we have, Sam, is every dollar we earn from fares, we have to give half back to the state. We don't know why. I'm looking into it. I'm asking people to sit with me and give me an explanation of that. Because I am starting to see some differences. I did hear something the other day when I was in a meeting with a bunch of other finance directors from the areas of Vermont that some of the routes don't have to be sent back. So we're trying to dig into that to get a better explanation. But at this point, best case scenario, we're assuming that we pay for about 50% of our rides. So, yep.
Yes, Jeremy Whitting from V-Trans is here with us. I was wondering, Jeremy, could you shed some light onto why, how that sort of fare structure is with V-Trans?
There he is.
I don't know if he's at
See if I put a step to one.
This would be great. Yeah,
Well, we can circle back, Jeremy pops on.
okay.
Alright, so let's go through the fair re-implementation plan specifics then. What is the proposal?
The proposal is for the, if you look at page 3, this is the proposal we have for the passes. We'll have the city fixed monthly access pass, which would be $30. The all route unlimited class will be $60. The seasonal passes will be $300. And then we're also going to have a punch card available. The other thing else I wanted to bring up is we also have gone through our bank and we found a company called Elevon. They will be giving us a website where the people who sell the passes will be able to go on. As we know that back in 2019, about 80% of our fares were cash. We're assuming that 80% of our fares we're going to be selling the passes are now going to be credit card. It's a system that we'll be uploading so we can sell passes via credit card, making it a lot easier for us. I think Tyler will be ordering passes. We have looked into a system where people can buy passes online with phones, but right now it's very cost prohibitive. Elevon is going to be working for us, where they give us 2 free machines, so we'll have one at the office and one down at the transit center. And there's absolutely no fees associated with it. They are a municipal-based company. The fees are forwarded to the customer. So when a customer goes and buys a $100 pass, they will pay the 3% or whatever fee when they purchase the pass. So we will not be passed down the fees, which, as you know, can be anywhere from 3 to 10%, depending on where you're looking to go. So that'll help us without having all that expense on the other side of it. We're hoping to start fares May 1st, but we might have to push that back and just start July 1st. It's kind of up in the air based on how much time it's going to take us to get everything up and running, ordering the passes, getting the computer system up and running.
Jade also just wanted to know everyone's opinions on that. If, what do you guys want to do? Either May or June, or do you have strong ways one way or the other?
We anticipate if we start in May, we'll get about $42,000 in revenue for May and June. If we can get it, I mean, obviously, it would probably just have to be a soft beginning because there's so much work to be done to get everything out to the public. As far as flyers, as far as announcements, legally, you know.
That personally, I'm in favor of bringing in another revenue piece of obviously important consideration, but I think making sure we do it right is more important than potentially like a month or 2 of revenue for the long term, rather than trying to sort of rush to get it out the door, you know, get some money in. So.
And I agree with you. I think, you know, I hate to read that. I was going to do, you know, the PSAs about starting fairs on this date certain. And if it's May 4th and we can't make it because we don't have the software and hardware and everything in place, then we wasted all that money and all the, you know, the PSAs. And, if you think it could be done by June 1st, well, then I support that. First.
I was
Really hasn't.
in July 1st was the.
Yeah, July 1st
Or
will be
July
the end of
1st.
fiscal year, so
Be
it
pretty
might
quick
just
now.
be. We have a lot to work out. There's a lot.
Yeah, and because I had something too that most other agencies too, would say offer some sort of reduced or free fare for, you know, people in a certain income or folks with disabilities or seniors or whatever categories. People do it different ways, but
There's
that's-
Medicare. I mean, Medicaid has their passes. Veterans, we have discounts for veterans.
There's the only, maybe I missed the the only like discounts off of like rate.
Well, we already sell coupons to, I think we have elderly passes. I was David's because she's much more school on this than I am. I was really in the background doing the calculations.
People
Yeah.
can reach out. Nobody's got Medicaid, they take something fixed, and it's a discovery rate. Veterans will be free. This is the only question I have is the $90 for a 10 round coupon, and then this Davis is $30. It's different. Page 3.
What figure is it?
It says $90 for a 10 round coupon, 2026, and then you go to the second page, 10 round. And your punch card is $30.
I made a mistake, that's the difference, $30 is accurate as far as.
So it's $30 on the 90.
I believe so, right, that were we ended up with that?
So I didn't know, I know we agreed on price, but it was,
You had the strongest case for it, I remember, so I would, 30 or 90.
I thought it was 60, to be honest with you.
I know, I was thinking the same thing, Simon, I have 16.
$60.
$60, all right.
And that's a 10 right punch that is good forever. Somebody needs to take a Proctor, Manchester, they give it to the driver punches it, grip on it.
So why would it be double the price of a typical fare?
Because it's like a forever stamp. You can keep it for as long as we have fares and
Ethan, do you wanna?
Yes,
so
I
it
just,
used to be 54.
but it's good,
Okay, so we should go
a
down.
clear picture, like just kind of the veteran rates laid out clear, and so what are the other categories we offer discounts for, and what is that discount?
This should be high price for this.
Don't have that policy in place, that's, sorry, that's very important. Things
No, it's just $1.
Okay,
It's basically the passes are 50% off. So if there's somebody that takes the bus every day, twice a day, say on a commuter route, that's $6 a day. So,
I guess, is there going to be an income threshold or other qualifiers written in policy that we can point to?
no, because we'd never be able to track that. So we could never, I mean, we can't ask people what their income is.
I mean, you could,
but it's back usually by age or.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's high price for. Yeah, certainly. Just, it seems like,
Half price of
Instead of-
cents.
and understand that I'm for riders and stuff, but. If we don't charge something, then what's the point of it? It's gonna cost a fortune to do fares and. What's the point of even doing fares? If we're not gonna generate. We have to come up with. It's $2 million just in local Manchester buy, so. How do we do that without? Having some sort of.
yeah, I'm not saying not, I was just trying to get clarity on.
Yeah.
Heard different things, we have Medicaid, we don't.
Well, that's what Medicaid folks, are like taking a trip to the hospital or they have a Medicaid appointment or something. They'll get that med card, then they'll just put it in, the driver will take it, and then they'll come back here and they'll get, loads of Medicaid. I mean, we can certainly do,
The majority of people on disability are gonna have Medicaid cards. But as far as like,
well, that's only for appointments though.
yeah,
So you have to do like, disabled or older
Yeah.
adults pass, half price or something like that. Yeah, then it'll be like 50 cents a ride.
Yeah, I mean, that's more what I was thinking,
Yeah.
not since I'm very looking to in terms of administration, you don't have to necessarily ask people to submit all that information. You can piggyback on Medicaid SNAP, for example, if they've been deemed eligible for such a program which has income threshold, you can have proof of participation in that program. They can submit that to an office and they can get a pass or a cover, or they could get
Vouchers,
half off
everything that we used to do, yeah.
Some vouchers.
So I guess that kind of a follow, I'm still not entirely sold on this fare structure, so I'm wondering like, if we're looking at implementing fares July 1st, like, do we need a decision this board meeting on like these exact fare structure and policies?
Yeah, I mean, basically, we just need a, yes, we're gonna do fair. Do fairs. But we can always add that disabled and older adults policy, and that's not a problem. We can certainly change things. But I think the structure of how the passes flow, I mean, the more we push passes, then it's less financial burden on us, because we're not counting money and it's easy. You sell a pass, boom, it's done.
Well, I agree completely on the pushing for passes, it's just a specific structure for things like the, the 60%, $60 monthly pass for the commuter. I mean, that's looking at some of the contemporaries, that's $15 less than the Chicago Transit Authority, because like a big city, like rapid, you're getting on a metro, an elevated metro, or, Green Mountain Transit's charging $50 for all their routes, and they operate a lot more frequency and more coverage than we do. So I don't know, just tossing around, $1 in the city, $2 on the commuter routes, and like making a pass at a price point where it's like a no-brainer if you're riding it, $35, $40, something like that. Or considering like a $2 flat fee, but I see the point on the city, I don't know. Just feel like
What's the length of Green Mountains going as far as rural? Because for $3, somebody can leave here and go all the way to Danby.
sure.
Or Manchester, yeah, so I mean, I think we're looking at, I think they're a little bit more condensed than we are. I think they have some rural roads, but not as many as we do.
Yeah, some significant pickups, but
Yeah,
yeah, and I looked at the contemporary just to get a picture of it, so Green Transit charges flat. Chicago charges flat, Capital District Transit Authority charges flat, Huntington charges flat, but Greater Portland Metro, Charlotte Area Transit, I found it charged a split between like the commuter and the state, like the local routes. And their routes that they charge more for are like similar distance to ours, but they're like hour ahead, like 15 minutes a day, like they're a lot more frequent and reliable, so.
I think the major point underpinning this is
I think our service is
reliable, yes, but I think what we have heard definitively from users and prospective users of the system is that they want simplicity, and that navigating the system is challenging. And if we can remove any barriers to that, that is a benefit, and maybe will drive more ridership. So is this as simple as we can go? Is the question. And is there truly a need to differentiate multiple fares, multiple pass types versus one pass to rule them all? Like, you have a transit pass. I'm running all these like hypotheticals in my mind. Somebody goes to the transit center in Rutland City, buys a fare to Fairhaven. They get back on the bus in Fairhaven, no fare, no pass. How do they make that ride?
cash.
What if they don't have cash? So the point is
It's
like,
like you run out of gas in your truck.
well, I'm just saying, I'm sorry, I mean, Well, you're playing, you still have your truck, right? Like, so the point is, like, if we're making all the transactions outside of cash at one point at the hub, why not make that hub, and I understand the model here is to try to drive people to passes, which I think is the right call. Will generate more consistent revenue for you all, and likely rides will be less than the pass cost traditionally, I think. So does it really matter cost wise, whether they're riding a rural commuter route or a city fixed route? Cost per passenger wise is different. I get that, but at the same time, like, if we're trying to make it simple and
We have
flexible,
one pass across the city fixed work.
yeah,
Well, we have that, we have a pass, it's expensive, it's a season pass.
right, and there's a monthly version of the unlimited pass. I'm just wondering, is there,
So I just wanna be able to freely, like, you jump on, if you're coming in from Fairhaven, now you can get on city fixed to the hospital, you don't need two passes. you just
Right.
need one.
right? And I'm thinking also about like administrative burden for you all, for whoever's dealing with cash for a driver, slowing you down. And then staffing for the transit center to do single transactions versus pass transactions is a much different burden as well. So I think that's something to consider. I'm curious on your all feedback. I know you've spent a lot more time on this than we have.
I remember back when we were doing fares and stuff, we actually, we pushed them on the passes, we had.
Yeah.
City fixed pass. We had, we actually, yeah, we had. Proctor had its own pass.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah,
And it would be nice just to get into having a couple pass runners. So if you want a city fix, this is your, you know.
because the $2 per ride for city fixed unreasonable. And will it, if it is sort of considered unreasonable, will it drive people more to the unlimited or monthly pass? In which case, you know, because you have potential income of 414,000 versus 397,000, with multi-rate versus the $2 per ride. Not a significant difference. And is there a way to sort of
That $2 rate would be more encouraging, so that actually will rate.
right? I'm just thinking about how's it easiest on you all and the riders.
So they're, I mean, that realistically, their pass, their city pass would get $15. 50%. It's $15 for a city bus for a month. It's $2.
No. It's 50 cents a day,
If we,
roughly.
like I said, I mean. If it doesn't make sense, if we're not generating any revenue, like, you know, doing fares, then why are we?
What's about the passes, what's the administrative cost exactly for the pass? Like,
You guys have any idea?
yes.
The blue figure. Figure 5 on page 6.
Passes were supposed to put the fee onto the rider, right? So they're getting the cheese for their.
Yeah, they're using credit card.
It's more staff hour time. Having somebody down at the transit station, plus the people who here on the phones, selling passes, it's their time there. So we put in about $57,000 in staff time.
But that transaction fee will be on
The transaction fee is, we took off because that's transaction fees. Yeah, we took it off there because the transaction fee is being paid by the writers.
Yep.
So it won't be an expense to us. At 57,000, that time comes right off. The top of for 50%, the state's still gonna take back from us, so it's cutting little pieces off till there's not much left for us.
And I guess if it was a consistent $2 per ride across the board, wouldn't it change likely the cost structure of the passes? Because this assumes a $3. So would it be more like 45 for the monthly access and then? And like 225 or 250 for the seasonal? Like how much did that change? The totals. My guess is it's all coming out in the wash, like it will basically level out.
Well, I mean, pretty much if we look at those prices, we already have price. If somebody goes up on the mountain, say somebody works up, and doesn't get past, because they're not working for long. If they go up on the mountain, $3 each way a day, like 20 days a month, that's $120. If we're charging $60 for a pass. So it's already at a price.
Because it didn't think, I just want to share Matt did say he buys the proposal reasonable. Didn't make a sound, so it should have.
Jeremy, are you on? Just curious on V-Trans perspective,
I am.
thoughts on, simplifying, or if this is reasonably simple enough. I mean, I know you're deferring to the agency, but still I'm curious.
Yeah. Simplicity is always probably better from a customer rider standpoint. This it looks okay. I mean, it's not overly complicated. It's there's a lot of work to be done for sure, just to kind of figure out what sort of expenses are we going to be putting in, what sort of time versus what sort of returns are we going to get.
Now, you worked at GMT for a long time. They have a single rate structure, is that right?
Yeah, at the time that I was there, it depends on what route you were riding, but it was basically like a local and a commuter fare.
So
There
there
were
are
some-
two.
Yeah, and then honestly, they simplified the commuter fare because there was different breakdowns if you were traveling in county versus if you left the county. Difference between $2 and $4 basically on some of those link services. Yeah, easier is certainly better for the rider, for the driver, because at the fare box is really where most of the conflicts are going to arise. And if there's concerns of like you have the wrong pass or this or you need to get that or like that's always the anxiety point for someone getting on a bus initially. How much does it cost? How do I pay? I'm going to be standing there in front of everybody. Everyone's going to be waiting on me to figure it out. Then you get drivers who, who deal with people getting on the bus all the time, who don't have any issues. And then you get that one person who doesn't know what to really do and the driver's running late. And then all of a sudden that's the kind of the conflict point. that's very kind of like a minutia kind of thing, but that's kind of where my mind goes when it comes to this. You know, how is it going to affect the customer? How is it going to affect the driver? And then ultimately, just the admin costs and operations of it all.
At that point, Jeremy, can you give a little insight on the structure by which V-Trans takes about half of the fare revenue?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
So I guess, I was informed that one important calculation in this is that V-Trans basically takes half of the fare revenue generated, which kind of like affects the rate setting equation of the cost of be putting in to set up and administer a fare structure. So I'm just curious if you can give insight onto that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't give much insight. I know what you're speaking of. I don't know the exact kind of breakdown between where the break-even point is. I can certainly get information on that if we have those specific types of breakdowns of, what the admin cost is, or just the initial, hardware, if you will, software, if you want it, admin costs to, capture all this, maintenance cost to install all of it.
Hey, Jeremy, this is
Yeah.
Patty.
Hi, Patty.
No, what we're asking is, I've been told that if we collect $100,000 in fares, we have to pay 50,000 of it to V-Trans. Can you explain that?
Um,
And
I've
then-
I've never heard that.
Yeah, I've talked to other finance directors, and it's not like we send you a check. It gets taken off the top of our grants.
Okay.
Can you look
Yeah.
into that and see if we can get an explanation? Because I'm just trying to,
Let me do that right now because my higher ups are available. And if it's okay, I'll
Okay.
step away and get the
Thank
answer
you.
to that. Because I've never heard of that. That's interesting. Let me see.
So, well, Jeremy looks into that. If you guys think that this is not gonna complicate ridership by having a split structure, then, I'm curious, do other board members, do staff sort of want to pursue this model as presented? Understanding a lot of work's gone into it, there's no doubt, like, we appreciate that. Is there strong opinions either way? And Tyler, I know you've worked on this a lot, so I'd love to hear your thoughts, because I know Jade's not here, sort of weigh in.
I won't speak for Jay, but I think we found this pretty equitable, but I do understand what you're saying, the simplicity of it. I know, so that's something I would appreciate if I was writing, just understanding the rates. I can say I don't personally find this too complicated, but I've been looking at this for months. So yeah, I would refer to you guys on this. You guys have much more experience in transit than I do.
I don't see it being confusing. Okay. You have a city pass, you have a commuter pass, you have a season pass that covers everything. It's no different than we did before COVID. And I understand, and I do understand with public transportation, it should be more. And I do understand disabled folks and older adults that are on a fixed income, and we definitely can look at that, very easily and change that portion of it to, best fit those riders, like we did in that. So I think those little bit of tweaks are nothing, you can easily do that, but I think having the pass structure the way it is pretty simplified, because and we can,
There's really truly only two passes. There's either all routes or city.
yeah.
And you can, whether you choose the seasonal or monthly is up to you, but
Right.
essentially there is only two passes.
I mean, this is what we had for passes. Oops, sorry. These are six of some of the passes that we had. These are some of the other coupons that we had. We had a lot of them. So
So this is
simplify that.
simplified.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm good with that then. I do think it'd be interesting, and maybe Jeremy can weigh in on this too. You know, let's not reinvent the wheel. I'm sure GMT, TBT, any of these other agencies, in state or out, probably have really well-defined, easily implementable, rate reductions for certain demographics. So if you're elderly, if you qualify for Medicaid, if you, or Medicare, you know, I'm sure there's some low hanging fruit out there that we could just borrow and say, okay, we're gonna adopt this model. If you meet these certain criteria, which is not a burden on the rider or the administration here, then you get your reduced rate. You know, 'cause I think that's what you're looking for, is like some clear rubric of like, do I qualify for a half price tax?
Well, we do, I mean, if you're over 64, I think it was the age for,
Yeah,
for older, I mean, we already have that, it's, you know.
Yeah.
We already know how to do that, it's something new for us.
well, some of this is already defined in like OA and D, right? If you're of an age, if you have a American with Disabilities Act considered disability, or if you qualify for Medicaid, Medicare, usually the overlap there.
Yeah.
Can we just use that framework
Right,
here?
that's what we use.
Okay, then I'd say let's add that into this policy then, is for the OA and D framework. To say, hey, if you qualify for OA and D, you qualify for a half price tax. I think would that satisfy your concerns?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, and again, the single plat, I wasn't like 100% this.
One of talked
great, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm willing to make a motion to approve this proposal as presented. I would just with the caveat that next meeting, I'd like to see a clear policy for reduced fare for folks with disabilities, over 65 or 60 and over, and maybe some consideration for like under 18s, like just using the school ID to get reduced or free service, so.
Yeah, I mean, we still have to look at, Killington, Okemo, a lot of those huge businesses that they have employees, Mount Carter Store, the hospital, we still have to, there's a little bit of work that still has to be done with these fairs, you know, as far as, you know, the school students, you're just talking about having a rate for them or free or, but having some sort of, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I didn't even think about youth ridership. This is something that we had talked about in the past with Laura McClellan.
Yeah, I think it should be free personally, but I guess so the specific motion is to approve this as presented pending presentation and approval of a reduced fare policy.
Yep. We have a motion.
I'll second it.
It has been seconded. Is there discussion or debate? I can't see if there's any hands online. Mine's not sharing. Sorry. It's okay.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, there's one. Jeremy.
Yeah, sorry, I've got my hand up and messing everything up here. Yeah, so I did get some information about the fares. I actually hadn't encountered it before because none of my providers actually have fares, but essentially this is how it works, right? Operations is billed at 50% federal, 50% non-federal. What happens with the fares is, let's say the billing for the month comes in at $500,000 for operations. 250 of that is going to be federal, 250 of that is going to be non-federal funds. The fares that come in also get split 50-50, fed, non-fed, and that amount reduces the operational invoice billing. So if it's $500,000, 250 fed, 250 non-fed, let's say you make $100,000 in fares, that gets split. So we're going to take $50,000 off of the fed, $50,000 off of the non-fed. So instead of 250, you would be billing $200,000. if that makes sense. So it doesn't actually come to us. Like we don't get a cut of it. It just comes off of what you would invoice.
So Jeremy's saying it's going directly into his pocket.
Yeah.
Jeremy, is there any exceptions, like certain routes or that we charge fares for don't fall into that?
I don't believe so. I wouldn't think so, but I can double check. Like this is my first kind of foray into how fares
I thought-
get.
What
Go ahead.
about, what about routes that are wholly funded by, say like Killington, that night shuttle, they're paying 100% of that bus.
Oh, yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
point.
That's a good question. I'll find out the answer to that. I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, we don't have any more 80/20s, right? CMAC.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. Hopefully in the future.
Yeah.
Right, working on some.
Okay. Yeah. All right, so we have a motion. It has been seconded. Any other thoughts?
I was just gonna say, we're just writing the book going forward.
Yeah.
There's nothing that says in 6 months, we can't come back and look at this and add an amendment to it.
No doubt. I mean, obviously, like, first impressions are everything, right? And how we roll it out matters, but
Yeah.
this should be a living document. I couldn't agree more, and I do think at minimum, an annual evaluation based on the income and if we are seeing impacts to riderships, what those are is necessary. So, yeah, I'm right with you, Albert.
I do have a question. If we get started in, this all started up, does it mean the other groups will come back or is it gonna stay the same?
It's gonna have to be evaluated.
What other,
I know the routes covered on the map.
Oh, the routes.
Or is it gonna stay at this?
Well, we always strive to add routes. I mean, that's the
Okay.
key here is to get people on buses and get them to different areas, but it's. I mean, I can't answer that.
short answers, we will look at it. Yeah,
Right at this moment, not right, but hopefully
Okay.
in the future, we could bring some of that service.
yeah, Albert.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, I think we agreed that 227,
Yes.
this
You know,
restructure, and
I
then
think a lot
it's gonna be looked at.
Yeah.
on my face and
I think if we were gonna charge a flat fare, that would need to be done at the beginning, it'd be really hard at once.
Yeah. I do think having to start FY 27 allows us on an annual basis to sort of set it in line with the fiscal year, which would be effective. So we have a motion. It's been seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. The vote was unanimous. Congratulations. This is a huge effort. Thank you, staff, for spending the time and putting this all together. It's amazing. We will be the second agency in the state to re-implement fares. Is that correct? Sure. Yeah. Yeah, Jeremy's nodding, so yeah. That's huge. Okay.
First, later,
Uh,
technically the first.
Oh, because GMT's limited, yeah. Okay, FY 25 to 26 ridership comparison, we had asked the staff to put together some notes for us. Just out of interest, this used to be a staple in the old packet. At the end of the packet, FY 25 to FY 26 ridership comparison.
Basically, we had about 625,000 rides in 2019 and 534, 25. 24 to 25, we had 30,000 rides less. A chunk of that might be because there was no World Cup.
Yeah.
What year was that?
Well, 566,020, this, I have a very simplified version, I'm sorry, that's confusing to me. In FY 24, we had about 566,000 rides. We had 534,000 in FY 25. That I think a big chunk of that might have been the World Cup I think that was about 20,000. Yeah, I don't see, we got rid of the south extension as well. That was 30,000 riders in 2024. I'm not sure where those rides went to. You have to speak to that.
They went on the south.
They went on the south.
We didn't lose much ridership.
But the 70,000, we had 70,000 riders in the south, 2024, and only 63,000 in 25. All in all, there's not,
Do we just not have data for FY 26 on O and D and fair transit?
we have some, if you look at the real colorful one, there's riders there.
But not for FY 26.
Yeah, this is FY 26,
Yeah.
FY 25.
So if you go
Look at this.
month to month, it has that, we haven't both completed the year to year, so the numbers and stuff.
Yeah, this page here, this comparison here on 26.
So it looks like ridership is so significantly up
Yep.
from 25.
Yeah, well, the mountain is significantly snowier this year. Seriously, that has a lot to do with it. When the mountain has snow, our ridership goes way up. Next year, we're looking forward to the World Cup coming back with her.
Not really, but yeah.
Well, okay, we're looking forward to the ridership.
Yeah.
Ron's not looking forward to working 24 hours straight for 7 days. So, yes, we are in the fixed routes, we are looking at, we've had some great increase. RKC, you can see, is up by 14,000 rides. Ludlow has a lot of snow, that's up by double. Go ahead. Yes.
I know, I was just gonna ask, on the top it says, fiscal year 25, fiscal year 26. Ridership comparison, year over year comparison, and then it has totals. Is that based on, because we're only in 26?
Well, it says
Seven.
Yeah, it's July 1st to January.
Yeah, so it is only the 7 months, and the only reason I ask is, when I look at this, I look at Proctor, and, when I look at the numbers from fiscal year 25 to fiscal year 26, I'm a little disappointed with the big drop in ridership in fiscal 26 versus the 7-month period in 25. And when you see that, that's a red flag, and I don't want the staff or V-Trans seeing red flags. So, so it matters what that number is. It says in 25, it's 4,459, and 26, it's, 3,017. Then when I go to the monthly totals, for fiscal year 26, I total those, and it is 3,017. But when you look at the 25 column, every one of those numbers are less except for 2 months. So I total those, and those numbers are only 2,483. And when I go to, the cover sheet under fiscal year 25, it has 4,459. And so I looked at 4 other groups there, and then just did a comparison. And when I look at the fiscal year 25 year over year numbers compared to the fiscal year 27 7-month total, the North route, it's 117%. Fairhaven route's 113% comparison. Manchester's 114. Middlebury's 117%. Proctor is only 55%. So it just makes me think that something is wrong with, that 4,459. And then when I look at, you gave us this sheet last month, and when I look at the totals for the year, I figure, well, that's the yearly total. Well, 7 months, I figure it would be around 42%. And when I compare the figures here for the year and see what percentage it is of the total year, For North, it's 48% for Fairhaven, 54% for Manchester, 52% for Middlebury, 46%. And for Proctor, it's 98% of that number. So I just think that, you know, those other four are grouped nicely in both comparisons, but Proctor is a flyer there. It's,
So I was told to make this look pretty. I'm not very good at math. I would trust Patty's numbers that that you received last week at the executive committee over mine. I apologize for the errors.
did we get number last week?
The one you're holding in.
Oh, I thought this came last month.
Oh, was that
Last
something?
week. I think this came.
Yeah, that doesn't include 2026. This is something I have done.
Yeah.
I-
that was a
Sorry,
13-year
sorry.
average.
Yeah,
Last week's a lot.
Like I say, the only thing that concerned me is that's the red flag and, you know, people look at this and
I agree with you, but there is something must be going on, because I'm always down there, it's like last week.
and I know from fiscal year 25 to fiscal year 26, Proctor was removed from the red flag. You were concerned.
Yeah.
You were successful, you know, so.
Yeah, the ridership did pick up on that.
Yeah, you know, when I'm looking at this, it's, you know, looks like it went down considerably, so.
But it did go up 2483 to 3017.
Yes, if we look at those numbers, but when you look at the cover sheet, you go down through here and look at the 7-month total and. So, well, all of them, you know, and on that first page are slightly different than the totals if you were to add them up.
Yeah. Yeah, I totaled up the West Rep too. It's like, at least for that one, leadership has gone down.
And I didn't totally, you know, I didn't do Killington because I figured that was ski season impacted. I picked, you know, 4 others that I didn't think were seasonally impacted, but.
Well, the shift to people is, you know, when you look at city fix, the shift of people that have moved to a lot of the hotels on the north, the east north border that ride the north bus versus the one that used to ride the west bus as well. And they're riding it multiple times a day, so that does fluctuate our ridership on our city fix. You know, versus a lot of people that used to be at the Cortina and that were with the south group are no longer there. They're in this northern territory, you know, I mean, they shift around so much that numbers may be a little different from time.
Yeah, I think the issue is the numbers are different between the headline and summary, no, between the summary for FY 26 and the. Do we have a updated version that's sent out? I'd really be interested in knowing. Yep. Ridership is going up year to year, or is it going down? I feel like a difference in not being able to tell. This is.
All right, so we'll get new ridership data sent out following the meeting. All right, 50th anniversary and long-term strategic plan.
Yeah, so this is, I don't think we have any documents prepared for this. We're gonna be going over this tomorrow at our company-wide meeting. We're gonna be doing those annually, but one of the things we want to do is just talk to our staff and see how we want to celebrate 50 years of service. That's obviously quite an achievement. We do actually have a few designs made by one of our drivers for some logos. So we'll be seeing that hopefully next month and seeing what comes up with that. But Jade wants to know what you guys think and what you think would be prudent to do this year and how it should exactly be. So far, some of the ideas have been a fare-free week in September. So that coincides with our start dates, or a fare-free month. Possibly a donation drive with a giant thermometer down at the transit center. And just different things like that. Also, I was just thinking some promotional materials. Our annual report going out for FY 26. We'll have a big section on that. I'll be kind of themed around that a little bit. But yeah, maybe some giveaways on some of the buses as well, some of those promotional materials. We're not exactly sure what we're going to do yet. I've been looking around trying to find different things for reasonable prices, both for giving away to the public, but also just for our staff, giving us some merchandise, some little swag that they can have.
That sounds great.
I I think, you know, giving to the community is the route we should be going. Fare free is, even already bought past, so that really doesn't really hit them too well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, especially just that fair. Your instituted fairs.
Right.
A little,
Right.
a little, that,
But
I think this is a huge opportunity for you guys to educate what y'all do. Like, how many riders and buses existed in 50 years ago
Right.
compared to the like massive organization that you built now? Commensurate ridership, so. Yeah, it'd be great if you guys could team up with, Cedar and Downtown Partnership on this. Those guys have like really strong marketing capabilities, and I think would be able to help promote this effort for y'all. I mean, blow it up. I think having something to offer every day during that celebration week in September would be awesome, you know? And we're happy to contribute some way as well. So that would be great. Maybe we could keep this as a sort of standing item. You guys could continue to fill us in. Same with, so long-term strategic plan, I think.
That I have not.
Okay. Well, we talked about, wanting to include some money in the FY 27 budget to hire a consultant to do a strategic plan for the board and the organization. So I think it's just about working with your leadership team and V-Trans to figure out how much you could set aside for that. And then RFPs and start the process next year, but I think it's really cool to be going through that strategic plan anyways, but to align it with 50, like what is the next 50 years? Would be pretty awesome.
yeah, one fun, just idea I'm gonna toss out there. Personally, I love history of stuff, and I like it's a good time to celebrate history of Marble Valley and what became before, so. A couple of years ago, I put together actually, I do our archives and put together like a little exhibit that they had in the Castleton Bank Gallery, so. I'm just be happy to work on, whether it's just like a small thing or just a little something to sort of show in history, and we have an old. Digging around in my office, I found a map of the original, like, first system route, and it's just like a couple city fixed routes in Proctor, I think, very much, so. I know there's definitely a lot of empty space downtown, you could find a shop front or place if you want to post something, and just kind of like, celebrate the legacy of the history. And so I'd be more than happy to help work on something like that.
I don't know, yeah, where did this points go?
Yeah, I have done stuff. In my office, I bought out of local drugstores. They had the old transit center from the 50s when it was where the salt cave is right now.
Yeah.
So it had the original,
Really?
aluminum signs, and then that was the transit center. So I got that.
Bring home and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. So just an idea. It could be scaled up or down. It could be
That was the old coins that we used to use for our fair.
yeah.
Cool. All right, so if there are board members, like even of a special interest in the history or any of this, just reach out to Tyler and Jade and offer your 2 cents. Board recruitment, it is we're post-town meeting day. Local boards will be reorganizing. So it will be an opportunity for us to recruit more municipal members. Right now, we only have 4. We have West Rutland, Proctor, Rutland City, and Killington. We had Fairhaven. I'm not sure what Jason's, I'm guessing he has limited capacity now. So that leaves a lot of other opportunities, Brandon, Pittsburgh, Castleton, Fairhaven, Pulteney. And we have some at-large seats open as well. We don't have anyone from healthcare right now since Tracy stepped down. There was somebody interested from our organization, so it'd be great to build the board up as long as people show up. You know, the last thing we need to deal with is quorum issues again. Yeah.
Complicated anyway, so.
So one brief thought I had on that is like, wondering if like, it would make sense for like us to put out like a, like, are you interested in being a board member from the town? And potentially like bring a rep to a board. I know that might be like, maybe seen as like stepping on toes, but like my sense, at least from dealing with select boards, and you know, feel free to weigh in. There's so many people to like appoint to so many positions, and often like the same people end up wearing a bunch of hats, and it's just like appointing someone to a position becomes like more of like a hassle. So
Yeah.
I don't know, like how would you feel if like the bus brought forth and said like, hey, there's a resident in the community who's like interested, and like presented them as the potential candidate to you?
Here you go.
Yeah, yeah.
And that people, what Leslie got.
I mean, the reason we got board members from towns last time around is because I sent letters and then I showed up to select board meetings, and that's how we got you all, right? Well, Proctor, we had a long-standing seat. But it takes some elbow grease and some running around to make that happen. I went to many select board meetings that it never produced a member. Brandon, Wallingford, Castleton, I sat in on those to try to pitch, but I didn't have somebody in the hopper. I think if we have somebody willing to do it, just like Chet said, they'll be like, okay, have at it, you know?
You know, we'd be lucky if we get enough, that's why we're on it. You know, I'm a select board member, I wouldn't be on it if somebody volunteered, it would be somebody else. Because I got enough meetings as it is, but, you know, the voice in my opinion on it. I would let that person know, but we don't get anybody that volunteers or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, we fill them with the board members is about what we got.
And we have 3 open at-large seats, because right now it's only myself, Matt, and Sam. I think we have 6 in the bylaws. So yeah, let's.
And that's the same issue with Proctor. There's no pool of people that want to come forward and volunteer. I don't care if it's a youth league program or, you know, being on the board of commissioners for the cemetery. Have to dump that into the lap of the select board just because nobody wants to do it. Committee assignments, committee assignments, no board is, you know, full. It's just the people just don't want to come in.
They complain, I get calls all the time complaining, I said, well, come on, run through it, let's do this, step up, do it. And then show up.
So at the minimum, I think sending out some letters, and then, you know, if anyone knows of folks in those communities that are willing to do it.
Yeah, I mean, what about just like posting something on social media, or like,
Front
if we're
porch.
interested in being a member of the bus board, like, you know, send us a resume, and then, you know, you could bring that person to a select board, and if a select board doesn't like them, then they can say no. But
Yeah.
that's more likely to produce a positive result if you're like, here's the person in town who's interested, here's their resume, you know.
You put it on our town site.
Yep.
You know, put it out there on our town site, looking for
Oh,
volunteers.
Right.
Yeah. Well, to the rest of the people that we're looking for.
No, I get it. No, that's a great point.
Well, we posted on our town page, we were going around, you see around the town solid waste looking for, you know, Arbor Valley Regional Transit District, the bus looking for, you know, somebody to come forward.
Yeah.
It's just-
So if we could empower our commissioners to help with that, that would be great. But I agree, yeah. Some low hanging fruit there.
And it's coming from the bus versus the town. You may get people that are more interested in transit that follow the bus, but have no clue that like the town.
We were having the same problem at our church, trying to get people to go into the church. We had our meeting last Sunday, well, than that, so you get the public to come to our church.
Yeah, it's everywhere, you know.
You said Tracy was healthcare, Rutland Regional Medical Center, or healthcare just in general?
She was Chitcher, Community Health in Rutland Region,
Okay.
which was a great perspective because they touched sort of all.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying. It'd be
Yeah.
nice to get somebody in.
Either the hospital or Chitcher, we need some healthcare perspective.
have some dialogue coming in from most people, rather than say, you know, there's a problem with the service. Come in and be part of the discussion and the solution.
Yeah, we haven't had somebody from the hospital since Markowski. That was 8 years ago now. So, yeah. Well, let's circle back to this one. Because it is, I mean, if the board's staff wanted at least do the low hanging fruit, that would be great, but. Thinking about time, we're an hour and a half in, let's wrap it up. So other business.
So
Yeah,
talking about being somebody that studied in the hospital. Also from partnership.
yeah, it was informal, but it was based on a survey from 2020 or 2019.
No, it was a different one that
Oh,
somebody
there's
from MC did, so I,
Do you have?
no, I reached out because.
Is that from the Baus Trust?
No, that was from Paul Black, he's like a social worker inside RMC, but I reached out, I was like, hey, the problem is like, they generate data, he's a staff, so I'm like, hey, we'd be interested in seeing this, like, full transparency, like, I wanna bring it to us, so I understand, like, if you're producing a report, like, criticizing the place you work for, like, can you share that with us? And he's like, well, he's like, oh, let me get back to you, so. I was interested in seeing it, but I wanted to give him like full transparency of where we would use it, but I hadn't heard back from them unfortunately, so I just seen it for them.
It would be nice to see that, just, I'm trying to work on this new thing with the hospital area and that community group that I'm on with Christie and stuff, and it's just hugely based around transportation. I'm trying to work on a different plan with using like micro transit for like Rutland City, Rutland Town, and possibly West Rutland. And having that block corridor of, you know, if you need to put here for an appointment, this is how you do it, and then we would scale back on your city fix a little bit and rearrange the city fix routes.
Have you looked at that VIA study?
What is it?
The VIA study from a couple years ago, the microtransit study of Rutland City?
No.
I'll send it to you, because they have a model, they outlined a model very similar to that.
Really?
Yeah. It probably needs to be updated, because it was like part of COVID, you have it.
I can find it, okay.
I'd love to put the city on a system where you get on one bus and you can go to every stop. So you wouldn't have to transfer buses, you can get on the Hanfords and go back home on the north side. Yeah. So that's where this fare implementation would be great, because we could change that a little bit.
Okay. All right, we will adjourn at 11:33 a.m. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Folks online, see you later.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
See you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could get the hospital involved, and, you know, if they're losing this much money per year.
Chitcher was 200,000, just